With me now is India's new High Commissioner to Canada, Dinesh Patnaik. Hello, High Commissioner. It's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for coming into studio.
No, thank you very much for having me here. It's a real pleasure being here.
I appreciate you making the time. I wanted to start off just by asking about your very presence in this country, and if you think you would be here today if not for Donald Trump's trade war.
No, I think we would be here, maybe a little earlier, a little later, but you cannot keep two large countries apart for long. And so High Commissioner was inevitable. It just took its own time. But Donald Trump played a role, but I think it was basically your new Prime Minister who played a very big role in getting things back to normal.
The last Prime Minister has been described by your predecessor as someone who, quote unquote, as he said to in his last interview with me, destroyed the relationship between Canada and India. How do you describe that relationship right now?
I don't think so. Any relationship can be destroyed by a single man. It needs a whole ecosystem to be destroyed. Canada and India, we share so much things in common. I mean, I can name you everything from democracy, freedom of press, rule of law, to being pluralistic, diverse countries with a whole lot of open economy, open society. You name anything that you can talk. We're both the same kind of people. And you're the largest country by area as a democracy, and we're the largest country by population as a democracy. It's difficult to keep us apart. So I don't think so any single man can ever destroy this relationship. But it needs a lot of people to build it back.
And how would you describe the state of the relationship at this moment?
It's good. It can be better. But I think we are on our way there. The initial steps have been taken. The very fact that the High Commissioners are back, that the ministers have met, that the officials are meeting, that the structured program that we have for meetings over the next few years, it's all going to put things back to restore the relationship and progress much more beyond what has been happening in the past.
I want to talk to you about what that might look like and what the future relationship might look like, but I think our audience would expect of me to ask you about the irritants and the issues that sort of led us to where we were prior to your arrival in this country. I just want to start off very specifically by asking about the allegations that the RCMP made, which is that your predecessor and his diplomatic colleagues were essentially linked to criminal activity here in Canada. At the time, the RCMP had said that, and the government had said, that India was not cooperating in an investigation that was taking place or discussions around those allegations, and therefore, you know, your predecessor was kicked out of the country. Has that changed?
See, those allegations are preposterous and absurd. I mean, I don't have to go back into them because they're in the past now. What we needed is a discussion to be able to talk to each other and not make allegations in press without any substantial evidence, which was done by an individual which we talked about, which is fine. It's like I said, it's in the past. For us is to build the relationship back again. The security people are talking to each other. There is a dialogue going on between the RCMP and the NIA. There's both the NSAs, the National Security Advisors of both countries have met. We are in the process of building up the relationship again, which, like you said, one single man destroyed, or what my predecessor said.
I didn't say, yeah, just to be clear.
To be clear.
He said it, yeah.
But the point with it is we needed to build it back, build back trust. Both sides lost trust. We lost trust because we felt there was an allegation without any substance. There was a trust deficit on the other side. Both of us need to build the trust back, and I think we have started doing that.
And does that mean, can I be clear, because you talked about the security officials, for example, does that mean that evidence has been provided, that there is a meaningful discussion in good faith taking place between India and Canada? I ask just because those allegations, you know, Canadians will be watching now and remembering those allegations, how specific they were, how serious they were. Like, is that reflected in the conversations that are taking place?
Yes, they're reflected, but I think that's a part, because the allegations that were made, there was no evidence of it. The people who have made persona non grata left. It was a strange kind of a thing where two people from the Ottawa High Commission, from our consulate in Toronto and from our consulate in Vancouver, were picked up, 6 people, and sent back. We had to pull them back because we found them that they were not secure here in this country. And so those allegations that they had made was without any substance. What we are talking about now are the different security scenarios that is happening in this country. Security scenarios where there is a group of people who are actually terrorizing, who are keeping the relationship under hostage. How do we deal with them? How do we do with the law and order situation? The Lawrence Bishnoi gang, which was put under proscription. We have already the Babar Khalsa and ISYF under proscription in this country. So how do we deal with the entire security situation? How do we deal with sovereignty issue? How do we deal with territorial integrity issues? How do we deal with criminal activities? All of these things are under discussion. And these things will make things, like Anita Anand said, people safe on the streets. And that's most important, because at the end of the day, people in Canada have to understand that they're safe. People in India have to understand that they're safe in Canada, and that's most important. I find it strange that a High Commissioner here has to be under protection. I'm under protection. I should not be under protection in a country like this. If you think it's safe, why am I under protection?
So let me ask you a little bit more about that, just to make sure that I'm clear, because what I heard you describe was concerns that your government and your predecessors have expressed around the law enforcement, or lack thereof, in your view, of the Sikh separatist community, right? Like, that's what you just described to me. Your understanding is that's what's being discussed between security officials? What about the allegations from Canada is my question. Like, what, because I understand your concerns. You know that Canadians will be familiar with the concerns and accusations levied, not just by the political class here in Canada, but by the law enforcement, the RCMP as well.
No, the RCMP has made its allegations. Now we are waiting for any evidence to be given.
So still none.
But it's a bigger discussion between both countries, because it's not a specific allegation which is important. What is important is the bigger discussion. Is Canada safe for Indians here? Is Canada safe from itself? Because Canada cannot look at this situation as an Indian problem. It's a Canadian problem. There are Canadians who are creating this problem. So do you look at it? Do you look at what is happening within Canada? Today, one of the restaurants which was attacked for the third time in Vancouver, shots were fired at the restaurant, which is owned by an Indian. Indians are feeling, South Asians and Indians are feeling unsafe here. Do we need to target that? Do we need to make sure that they feel safe? What is happening here? The High Commissioner of Canada and India doesn't need protection, but the High Commissioner of India and Canada needs protection. Do we need to look into that? Why is it situation like that? So those are things. The larger discussions have to happen, because any relationship takes into account every aspect of the relationship, from economic security to physical security, political security, security on the streets. All of the situations have to be discussed. We cannot have a relationship where we focus on one and let the others be hostage to that.
And I want to ask about the other stuff in a moment. One final question on this, because I take your point about security and the fact that you need it, and that there would be a large diaspora here who are concerned about the actions of those separatists. There are also a number of Sikh Canadians who are concerned about being targets, as the RCMP have alleged, of people like your predecessor. I'm relaying what the RCMP has told Canadians. What, how can you assure those communities, the Sikh community, that they will not be targets now that you and your colleagues are back here?
They never were. I find it very strange that allegations have become evidence. It never works like that. Anybody can. Well,
they haven't. To be fair, you're right. They haven't been proven in court, but. As Canadians, when our national police force conveys something,
when somebody
you're put
makes
on
a
alert.
mistake in saying something, it's up to the RCMP to make things right. I cannot guarantee you something which I have not done. I cannot say they will be safe because I never targeted them.
But you can be explicit. There will be no sort of extraterritorial action against anything.
We never do. We never do. Extraterritorial action by India is never done. When is the last time you heard of an extraterritorial action by India?
Well, the one I'm most familiar with is the one the RCMP alleges here of,
yes,
of
but
the
that's
murder
an
of Mr.
allegation.
Najjar.
Exactly
it's an
what I'm
allegation.
saying.
I understand.
It's the same thing when we say that we have a problem with certain sections. It's an allegation. But if we give evidence, then it becomes actionable. So please, let's talk about it the same way.
Okay, well, I'm going to put that aside for now, because that's making its way through the courts, and I appreciate your answers on that. I did want to ask about the potential now, when you mentioned discussions around the economic relationship between India and Canada, which actually hasn't taken a huge hit during this time, has actually grown during that time. Namely, I wanted to ask about something that has become a big issue here in Canada around the export of conventional energy. I know that India has expressed interest in liquefied natural gas. There's a lot of talk right now in the White House about limiting oil from Russia to India, the #1 supplier of oil. Would you turn to Canada as a supplier in lieu of that?
We will turn to anywhere who can supply us. You have to understand we are a 1.4 billion population country. We're growing very fast. We're going to be the 4th largest economy in the world, soon to be the 3rd largest economy in the world. We are going to become 10 trillion in the next 4 to 5 years. A country of that size is going to consume everything, not just energy, food, you name anything in the world, we are going to be the largest consumer in the world. So we look for suppliers where there can be a reliable supplier, not a supplier who today says, okay, I'm going to supply you, and tomorrow says, no, I have this problem with you, I cannot supply you.
Do you consider Canada reliable in that vein right now?
Not yet. Not yet. We want you to be a reliable supplier because, like what we discussed before, we don't want a situation where extraneous factors to economic activities become a deterrent to economic activities. There has to be reliability among the purchaser of oil in India, the people who buy oil from Canada, people who buy pulses from Canada, people who buy potash from Canada. Those who buy have to be sure that Canada is a reliable supplier. We want reliability in supply chains. We don't want a situation like it happened in COVID, when certain countries cut off supplies because of political reasons. You know what happened during COVID. So we do not want a situation where countries want to sell us things because it benefits them, but use excuses to say, okay, we cannot supply at that time. We want reliable supply chains. And we have always looked for that, and we will.
Do you believe that Canada could become that reliable partner in that vein?
Of course, we always believed Canada can be a reliable supplier. From a very long time, Canada has been a reliable supplier to many things, but certain events in the past has made us reconsider that, and I hope that we can move forward.
And what about the prospect of, I mean, prior to everything falling apart, there were I remember, the negotiations for a free trade deal.
Things didn't fall apart.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm interpreting, that they canceled the discussions on the free trade agreement. Yes, they, made those allegations. That's what I'm referencing in that vein.
Because if you look at it, the bilateral trade didn't go down, it went up. No. Financial investments went up. Everything went up because we are working with people who are reliable. If you remove it from the political influence. Now, the political influence can become a negative influence on politics, on economics, which we have seen always. So our work is to make sure that the economic relationship is firewalled from extraneous forces which try to derail them.
But the political force is the one that leads free trade negotiations, something more formalized
free trade negotiations has to be seen from both sides as to how beneficial it is.
Right, that's what I'm asking.
And India
is that still a possibility between
India
and Canada?
It is always a possibility. We've signed a free trade agreement in the last 1-2 years with the UK. We are on the verge of signing with the EU. We have signed with the EFTA just recently. We've signed with Australia, with UAE. We are discussing with the US. We will discuss with Canada. If Canada is ready to sign a free trade deal with us, we'll be more than happy to work with Canada. But it is the Canadians who paused it. It's for the Canadians to restart it.
So Canada would have to signal to India that they would like to restart that. But India is willing, if the signal is sent.
We are willing. We are a country which works with every other country in the world. Like I told you, we are the 4th largest economy. We're going to be the largest consumer in the world. We have always played with multi-alignment. We work with every country in the world. Even in the worst of times, we worked with the US, with Russia, with China, with everybody else that we need to. We are not countries who decide, oh, we can't deal with you or we deal with you. We deal with everybody. We have a trade relations with Pakistan, with every other country that you need it. I mean, Canada was one of our good friends. So there's no reason why we can't have a trade deal with Canada. But it's up to Canada to decide what it wants.
Okay, I will leave it on that note. High Commissioner, a pleasure. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.